Gabriel, why did you do this?
I tried to show him that wealth wouldn't solve all his problems.
And?
It seems to have solved most of his problems.
Switch back, man.
So what, I just go back to living in my car?
You lived in your car?
Good Fortune is positioned as a contemporary comedy with a high-concept premise that blends everyday struggle with supernatural interference, using humor to explore ideas of destiny, privilege, and unintended consequences. Set firmly in the modern world, the film frames its story around people living radically different lives, yet unknowingly connected by forces beyond their control. Rather than presenting miracles as grand or awe-inspiring, the story treats divine intervention as awkward, intrusive, and often poorly timed. This grounding of the fantastical within recognizable social realities gives the film its comedic edge, allowing the narrative to comment on modern work culture, wealth disparity, and the quiet desperation that defines many people's daily routines. The tone leans towards smart, character-driven comedy with moments of reflection woven naturally into the humor. At the center of the story is Gabriel, a well-meaning but profoundly inept angel who believes deeply in the idea that small nudges can change lives for the better. Gabriel is not portrayed as a powerful, omniscient being, but rather as someone earnest, optimistic, and frustratingly unaware of how complicated human lives truly are. His belief system is simple: if good fortune is redistributed correctly, happiness will follow. This assumption becomes the engine of the story, as his actions reveal just how fragile and interconnected human circumstances really are. Gabriel's interventions are guided by intention rather than wisdom, and the film draws much of its humor from watching those intentions unravel in unpredictable ways. The struggling gig worker at the heart of the narrative represents a familiar modern archetype: overworked, underpaid, and perpetually one missed payment away from disaster. His life is a cycle of short-term jobs, unreliable income, and constant compromise, where effort does not necessarily translate into stability. He is not lazy or incompetent, rather he is exhausted by a system that rewards endurance more than growth. The film takes care to portray his situation with empathy, showing how optimism slowly erodes under the pressure of financial insecurity. His sense of self-worth is tied to survival rather than ambition, making him an ideal candidate, in Gabriel's mind, for divine assistance. In sharp contrast stands the wealthy venture capitalist, whose life appears effortless on the surface. Surrounded by comfort, influence, and opportunity, he moves through the world with a confidence shaped by success rather than fear. Yet beneath this privilege lies a different kind of dissatisfaction, one rooted in excess, detachment, and a creeping sense of emptiness. The film avoids painting him as a simple villain, instead presenting him as someone who has won the game but no longer understands why he is still playing. His wealth insulates him from consequences, but it also isolates him from meaning, creating a subtle emotional imbalance that mirrors the gig worker's material struggles. Gabriel's decision to meddle in both of their lives simultaneously becomes the narrative's turning point. Believing that fortune can simply be shifted from one person to another, he orchestrates a series of interventions designed to elevate the gig worker while humbling the venture capitalist. These changes are not instant miracles, but gradual disruptions that ripple outward, affecting careers, relationships, and personal identity. What begins as a noble experiment quickly spirals into chaos, as each character reacts in ways Gabriel never anticipated. The film uses these escalating misunderstandings to explore how people adapt when the foundations of their lives are suddenly altered. As the gig worker experiences unexpected opportunities and moments of luck, he is forced to confront a new kind of anxiety. Success, even in small doses, brings pressure, suspicion, and the fear of losing what was never meant to be permanent. The film highlights how sudden improvement does not erase years of instability, and how trust in good fortune is difficult to develop when life has consistently delivered disappointment. His relationships begin to shift as well, as those around him respond differently to his changing circumstances, revealing how closely identity is tied to economic status. Meanwhile, the venture capitalist's controlled world begins to fracture. Subtle setbacks, inconveniences, and losses accumulate, challenging his belief that he is always in control. The film finds humor in watching someone accustomed to dominant struggle with minor obstacles, but it also reveals the emotional consequences of losing certainty. As his power diminishes, he is forced to engage with people and problems he previously ignored, leading to moments of uncomfortable self-reflection. His journey is not about punishment, but about exposure, stripping away layers of privilege to reveal unresolved insecurities beneath. The interactions between these three figures form the emotional core of the film. Gabriel, observing the fallout of his actions, begins to question his own understanding of goodness and fairness. His role shifts from confident instigator to confused observer, as he realizes that human lives cannot be balanced, like numbers on a scale. The comedy deepens as Gabriel attempts to fix his mistakes, only to complicate matters further, reinforcing the film's central idea that intention alone is not enough to create positive change. The supporting cast adds texture and emotional weight to the story. Characters played by Keke Palmer and Sandra Oh bring additional perspectives, grounding the narrative in relationships that reflect loyalty, skepticism, and hard-earned wisdom. These roles serve as emotional anchors, challenging the main character's assumptions and providing moments of clarity amid the chaos. Their presence ensures that the film does not drift into abstraction, keeping the focus firmly on how choices affect real people in tangible ways. Keanu Reeves' portrayal of Gabriel leans into contrast, using restraint and sincerity to highlight the character's otherworldly innocence. Rather than playing the angel as exaggerated or flamboyant, the performance emphasizes quiet confidence, slowly giving way to doubt. This understated approach allows the humor to emerge organically from situation rather than spectacle. Seth Rogen's performance balances charm with vulnerability, presenting wealth not as a joke but as a complicated burden. Aziz Ansari brings a grounded, observational tone to the gig worker, capturing the subtle frustrations and small victories that define his character's world. The film's comedic style relies less on rapid-fire jokes and more on situational irony and character interaction. Humor arises from the collision of belief systems, particularly Gabriel's simplistic morality clashing with the messy reality of human behavior. The pacing allows moments to breathe, giving emotional beats space to resonate without sacrificing comedic momentum. This approach aligns the film with character-driven comedies that prioritize insight alongside entertainment. In terms of thematic focus, Good Fortune examines the idea that luck is often mistaken for fairness. By physically embodying fortune through an angelic character, the film externalizes questions people quietly ask themselves. Why do some struggle while others thrive, and can balance ever truly be achieved? The narrative does not offer easy answers, instead suggesting that understanding and empathy are more valuable than redistribution without context. The supernatural element serves as a lens, rather than a solution, highlighting human responsibility rather than divine control. The plot steadily builds toward a convergence where all three characters must confront the consequences of altered trajectories. As misunderstandings accumulate, relationships strain, and emotional truths surface, the story emphasizes accountability over correction. Gabriel's growth mirrors that of the humans he interferes with, as he learns that helping often means listening rather than acting. The resolution focuses on choice rather than fate, reinforcing the idea that fortune may open doors, but meaning comes from how people walk through them. Good Fortune is scheduled for a theatrical release on October 17, 2025, positioning it as a fall release aimed at audiences seeking thoughtful comedy with mainstream appeal. The timing suggests confidence in its ability to resonate beyond seasonal spectacle, relying instead on performances and concept to draw viewers. The ensemble cast and recognizable comedic voices support its positioning as a character-focused film rather than an effects-driven spectacle. Early promotional material emphasizes the contrast between celestial intention and earthly consequence, hinting at a story that balances humor with introspection. The trailer material showcases the awkwardness of divine intervention, highlighting moments where good intentions produce unexpected fallout. Rather than revealing major plot turns, the preview focuses on tone, character chemistry, and the absurdity of an angel navigating modern economic realities. This approach preserves narrative surprises while clearly communicating the film's thematic direction. Ultimately, Good Fortune presents itself as a comedy that uses fantasy to interrogate reality. By placing an inept angel into the lives of two men at opposite ends of the economic spectrum, the film creates a space to question assumptions about success, failure, and moral responsibility. Its humor is rooted in recognition, inviting audiences to laugh not just at the characters, but at the systems and beliefs that shape everyday life. Through its performances, premise, and carefully balanced tone, the film aims to entertain while quietly asking what people truly mean when they wish for good fortune.